Choosing a career can be one of the most stressful decisions in your life. It's a huge choice that will impact nearly every aspect of your life, and it can be overwhelming to make that choice, especially as a younger person in high school, when most people have to make that decision of what they'll take in university. In this video, I'll go over a 9-step process for choosing your career. Hey, what's going on? It's Chris here from Wealth Awesome. I'm friends with a lawyer named John, and I had a conversation with him about a year ago, and he told me that he hated his job and he regrets his career choice. He said not only is it a problem at his firm, but among other lawyers as well, regret is a very common feeling for their career choice. Lawyers are often overworked, and the job itself is usually not the glamorous position that is portrayed on television. I felt a lot of sympathy for him. I can only imagine going through all those years of schooling and passing the difficult bar exam just to hate your career choice when you're finished with it. Then you feel trapped in a career because you've committed so much blood, sweat, and tears to achieve it. If you're worried about failing to find a great career that will give you some job satisfaction, here are some few steps you can take to get started, find a great career, and start making good money. Stick around until after the list is finished. I'll go over my career struggles and how I ended up doing what I'm doing now. It's been kind of a long journey for me as well. So career has definitely been something that I've looked and dealt with and struggled with even a lot in the past. Okay, so the first step I would recommend, it's kind of like a brainstorming session. So just make a list of all the careers that you're interested in, no matter how crazy that they sound. Think of everything you've ever read about careers or seen in movies or TV shows that you've watched, or interesting jobs that you might have heard about. It can be anything you want at all, from an accountant to a nurse to an astronaut to an NHL player. Write down anything that you can think of. There's a lot of lists online that you could Google as well. So just do a simple search like best careers for Canadians or something like that. You could even make a list of the companies you'd be interested in working for. If you're really interested in a certain company's vision and mission, this could maybe be a good starting point. Maybe you'd love to work for Apple or NASA or Mercedes-Benz or Walmart, or maybe a smaller company appeals to you. Also make a company list, then research all the careers at that company you might be interested in and write them down. I recommend just freehanding this, just write down, just kind of get all your ideas from your brain onto the paper or Word document and make a list as long as you can. It could be upwards of 100 careers. Step number 2 is to separate the careers into different categories. After you have a long list of careers, you can separate them into different categories. Then get rid of the obvious ones that you won't be interested in and try to narrow down the field to about 20 different jobs and put that onto your shortlist. The third step is to give each career a score. Before giving each career a score, you'll have to come up with a list of the career attributes that are the most important to you. Here's a list of some of the common qualities that you could base your score on. There's things like earning potential, autonomy, job security and demand, freedom, likelihood of success, the stress level, the amount of free time that you'll be given, passion for the subject, job satisfaction, and you can weigh these scores to how important they are to you. For example, I value freedom and earning potential over anything else, so I would give them a weight of 2 or 3 times more than other factors. But what you value might be very different. After you have your scoring system figured out, assign a score to each of the careers. You can then narrow down the list even further to the top 5 highest scores. Number 4 is to research each career very closely. So after you have your list of 5 jobs, research everything you can about the career. Here's some ways you could do that. You can read everything that you can about each career online, watch YouTube videos about the career. You can find job reports about each career on things like job satisfaction and earning potential, for example, and you could attend job fairs. Step number 5 is to reach out and shadow real people in these careers. This step is really important. My friend John thought he would be a hotshot trial lawyer like he saw on television if he actually spent more time to find out what lawyers do on a daily basis, which is a lot of paperwork and contract writing. He might not have wanted to become one. So here's a few ways you could reach out to people to shadow. I would recommend first making a nice profile on LinkedIn. Then you could reach out to either the people in the field that you're interested in, or you could even look at companies and reach out directly to them. And you could also do it the old-fashioned way, which is by phone or in person. But I think to scale and for efficiency's sakes, LinkedIn is probably the best bet for this. If you want to try something a little more tech advanced even, there's something called hunter.io, and this will help you find personal email addresses of people online. It's pretty effective, and there's a free version of it as well, so you can check that out if you're struggling to find ways to contact people. I think probably emails, even if you can find a personal email and address it directly to a person, that's probably the best way to shadow someone. You can also tap into your existing social networks, either through social media or by personally reaching out. A simple post on Facebook asking if anyone knows a person in a career you're interested in could provide some leads. The sixth step is, now that you have all this real world experience and you have theoretical as well with your scores, you have to adjust your score with the new information. So now that you have a lot more information, adjust your list of 5 different job scores. There could be some drastic movements now that you know a lot more about the job. The seventh step is to narrow your choices to 1 or 2 careers. Now you should hopefully have 1 or 2 clear-cut choices. If it's a toss-up between the 2, repeat steps 4 to 6 above until you come up with a solid number 1 or 2 choice. And the 8th step is, if you're not really sure, try taking a personality quiz like the Myers-Briggs that's specifically designed for a career. It's a personality-based test, and it can give you some ideas or indicators about which career path to go on at least. And step number 9 is to finally go with your gut. If at the end of all this, you're still torn between 2 or 3 choices, just listen to your gut and go for it. As a wise man once said, more is lost by indecision than wrong decision. You don't want to delay your choice by years. Don't worry if your career choice isn't perfect. You'll experience a lot of change throughout your career. Careers will change, and you will personally change as well. It's almost impossible to predict the future 10, 20, or 30 years from now. It's best to just pick one path and apply yourself 100% towards it, and a whole world should open up even if you don't like it to begin with. No choice is set in stone, and there's always options even if you're stuck in a job you don't like. I've had a lot of different careers in my life. Right out of university, I worked at an accountant firm, actually, Deloitte, one of the biggest accounting firms in the world. I didn't like it very much, so I switched it up to the utilities industry where I was a trader. So I worked there for several years. Then I switched it up to financial advising, and I ran my own insurance brokerage for a while. And finally now become a writer. I've also worked as a wholesaler. So basically I've had a ton of different jobs, and I've tried a lot of different things, which I'm very grateful for, having this super wide range of experience. And I think I finally found something that is my calling, which is writing and producing content, making these videos, sharing information with the world, which I get a lot of satisfaction from, and I really enjoy it. So it is a lot of trial and error even after you enter the career world. I made a lot of missteps along the way, and it hasn't been a perfect road, but it's good to try a lot of things so you could finally find what really suits you. And that's just my 2 cents on the topic. I really do wish I went through a process like this, intense score process, when I was in high school. I really didn't put a lot of thought into it, to be honest. So having a more structured approach like this is something that I wish that I had when I was younger. After you are in your career and you're earning a little bit of money and you want to start investing, make sure you check out Wealthsimple Trade. There's free Canadian ETF and stock buys and sells for no commission. It'll really help you to save money in the future. So if you're interested, there's a $10 cash bonus in the description below. All right, since you made it this far, like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be putting out content every single week. If you haven't already, make sure you check out the blog wealthawesome.com. It goes into this topic into way more details. I have a lot of different articles about how to choose a career and best careers for Canadians, and things like best websites for career choices for Canadians. So I break down the topic into a lot more different subtopics. It's one of the fastest growing blogs in Canada for personal finance, and you can check it out. I put a link in the description below. And as always, thanks for listening.